Hi there, and welcome to the September 28th edition of your Wheel and Anchor weekly newsletter. You can tell that we're almost at the end of September and into fall by the fact that the flowers are wilting, the blooms are all falling off, so it won't be too long before that W word is just around the corner. Nevertheless, I've had a great week driving around southwestern Ontario, meeting members in all kinds of towns and cities, and hearing some more great stories about your past travel adventures, as well as the kind of places that you'd like to go. This week, I'd like to share with you about our newest destination, our extension program from our Japan Land of the Rising Sun program that was very popular last year. We had a wonderful trip in May, and I've just completed this program to South Korea. It took me a little bit longer than I anticipated because I wanted just the right experience. Having had such a great time this past May, I wanted to enhance it a little bit further. To give you a little bit of a summary of that program, we're going to be starting off in Seoul, a city which is almost like a halfway between Tokyo and Bangkok, in the sense that it has the cleanliness, the efficiency, the modern skyscrapers of a Tokyo, but it has a certain edginess to it as well. Some amazing food markets that we got to try out, and was really an eye-opener for a lot of us. I think we can honestly say we enjoyed our time in Seoul. From Seoul, we'll head down by the Korean equivalent of the bullet train by KTX, heading down to Busan, which is South Korea's second largest city on the southern coast, and of course one of the largest container ports in the world. So to witness this city, particularly standing high atop the Busan Tower, where you can overlook all of the comings and goings of the cargo ships, containers being unloaded and loaded 24/7, was really quite a spectacle. But Busan is actually more well known for its fabulous beaches, and we're going to be staying not too far from one of them. And from there, we'll be able to both walk around and tour around some of the incredible sites, the historic part of the city, as well as some of its modern features and its incredible markets. And the newest addition in South Korea this year, we're going to be heading to a city called Gwangju, which is in southwestern South Korea, and a place that not a lot of tourists get to. It has a bit of a dark past in that it was the site where students demonstrated for democracy back in the early 80s, and many of them were killed in a terrible military confrontation. But it really was the start of the democracy movement that made South Korea into the economic power that it is today. So we'll get to learn a little bit more about that, as well as exploring the beautiful countryside, the green tea plantations, as well as the coastline that makes up this very interesting and unique part of South Korea. So that'll be our program to South Korea, which is going to take place immediately following our trip in Japan. Of course, you're welcome to book that all by its own in case you're going to be in Southeast Asia, or if you've already toured through Japan. Just a couple of other things I wanted to mention. By now you will have gotten our last edition of the cruise edition of the Anchor Monthly, our print newsletter, and we've just sent off already the October edition to the printer. And it's going to be yet another special edition where we're going to be focusing on our Wheel and Anchor weekends. We're going to be exploring a little bit of what you can expect in the destinations of Havana, Cuba, where we're going this coming November, as well as the Azores, an archipelago of volcanic islands in the middle of the Atlantic, where we'll be headed in March. On top of that, Panama City, and of course Mexico City. And all those are going to be explored in our October edition of the Anchor Monthly. And then coming up this week on Thursday, we have our newest webinar about the Baltic Explorer program. And this is a tour that I put together. I've heard so many stories of people traveling around the Baltic region on a cruise ship and popping into all these cities, but usually only for a day. And in this case, we're going to be following in the footsteps of many of those typical cruises, but we're going to be taking time to visit the capital cities of Sweden, Finland, St. Petersburg in Russia, as well as Tallinn in Estonia. So look forward to that webinar, which is happening this Thursday, the 3rd of October at 11 o'clock a.m. as usual. And just a couple of other last-minute points. I'd like to say bon voyage to our Thailand Mind, Body, and Soul yoga program, which left today. They're going to be spending a good 12 days in Thailand, rejuvenating themselves on a tropical island down in the southern part. And finally, there are 2 seats left on our program to Egypt, Israel, and Jordan. We had, unfortunately, a couple of members that had to cancel. So if you thought about going to Egypt, Israel, and Jordan, as I say, we have 2 spots left. would love to have you along. We shared some excitement about that trip with many of the members over the past week. So that's all for this week, and I hope that the weather continues to stay nice, at least here in southern Ontario and all across Canada. And in the meantime, I wish you, as always, happy travels.